Damian Lillard is back with the Portland Trail Blazers, signed a 3-year, $42 million deal to go back to the place where he has spent vast majority of his career. It's where he'll be remembered as. I know the last couple of years of the Bucks did not go as planned. They stretched his contract, so he's still getting a pretty hefty sum from Milwaukee, which allowed Portland to get him for a discount. Some talk about Dion it being a bit of a surprise that he's back in Portland. Some storybook ending with him being back in Portland to likely finish out his career, whether it's during these 3 seasons or beyond. What's your immediate reaction and thoughts to Lillard re-signing with the Trailblazers?
Um, who cares? To be completely honest with you, um, I think it's very clear it's his last contract he's going to sign ever. Um, this is like his way of saying, "Hey, I'm going out. I want to
Hmm.
go out my way." Like it was a mistake for me to leave Portland in the first place, type of thing. Cool. I think the immediate, shock value aspect of it was like everybody kind of thought like, well, he's making all this money from Milwaukee. Time to go ring chase. Boston with Tatum made a lot of sense. They can rehab together, come back together, type of thing, and then it's
Hmm.
that would be Boston's way of subsequently also staying under the second apron while having a ton of talent.
Yeah.
And I thought that, like that did make a ton of sense. And going back to Portland doesn't make sense necessarily. I also think like ultimately this is a sign that Dame's telling you like, hey, I don't really got in the tank what y'all think I got in the tank. So I would much rather just go out with Portland than go to Boston and have a million expectations.
I have a couple of thoughts because there are, I think, a multitude of factors in terms of the way we talk about this and have talked about Dame throughout his career. Like, first off, was going to Milwaukee actually a mistake? Like, think back to when that happened. That was him essentially ring chasing for the first time, and now like he got hurt pretty much the entire time he was there. We never really saw them fulfill their potential, although they did win the NBA Cup, which that's not nothing.
When did they do that?
Didn't they do that?
No, I'm not saying that. I have no idea.
I have
I
some recollections of them doing that, but I may be mistaken. My
no,
NBA knowledge is very much memory and not my memory is not so great these days.
no, you are probably correct. The NBA Cup is something I do not think should exist.
Yeah, well, the Lakers won the one, and there was the talk about if they were going to hoist the trophy or whatever. Yeah, they beat the Thunder December
Really?
17th, 2024, 97-81 at
Wait, so
T-Mobile
they're the
Arena.
reigning NBA Cup champs?
The reigning NBA Cup champs.
Good for them. Good for them.
At least if Google is correct. Yeah. So it's not nothing. I had to just check myself. But like Portland was at a crossroads when he left. Knew it was going to be rebuild. He goes and ring chases at Milwaukee, and things just don't work out. So like in retrospect, I don't. It's easy to look back and say it was a mistake because they didn't really accomplish a ton outside of that NBA Cup title. But it wasn't like his own fault. It was just like circumstances made it not work. And I think that's the part of the Milwaukee experience that is so unsatisfying is we like it didn't work, not because it didn't work, because they got hurt.
Dame gets hurt a lot though.
He does
Uh,
he does now. I mean, he's what, 35?
35, yeah, but I think if you look back, I want to say maybe, and I might be wrong on this again. Like this is me spitballing off the top of my head, just because I wasn't expecting us to talk about Dave's injury, so I'm not going to pretend I researched it. If you go back to like 2018, 2019, I know he's missed a lot of time. Did he miss like a full year almost at one point in Portland? I think he dealt with an injury in the Olympics too, or the World Cup, something like that, that he like played through. He's been injured. Like Milwaukee knew they were getting a guy that's been dealing with injuries like off and on for a few years, I want to say. And I think it is what it is.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I'm not saying it was a mistake for him to go to Milwaukee necessarily. I just think like I look at it like this. KD did not make a mistake coming to the Warriors. Does he regret it? Probably.
Mhm.
Not a mistake for Dame to go to Milwaukee. Does he regret it? Probably.
I think so too. And I don't think he regrets it from the ring chasing standpoint. I think he regrets it for all the reasons he didn't ring chase before he
Yes,
went to Milwaukee, right?
absolutely.
And so, like on the surface, it makes sense to entertain a Boston. It makes sense to entertain a Golden State, given that he's from Oakland and everything like that. But given everything like Dame has shown, going back to Portland, I think means something to him. Like being a trailblazer, the team, not necessarily like a trailblazer, but being like a Portland trailblazer means something to him.
Today's video is sponsored by LabCorp On Demand. Car, do you take care of yourself?
I try my best to, yeah.
Like not just treat yourself to expensive meals, but like you go to the doctor and things like that?
No, I just take care of myself. There's no need to go to the doctor unless I'm not taking care of myself, right?
Are you afraid of the doctor, Cart?
Just a little bit. I mean, if nothing's wrong, why would I go there?
Listen, I'm the same way, and so are millions of men across America. But that's why LabCorp On Demand is helping millions of people like us. With their men's health test, you can get a comprehensive look at your hormone levels, your total testosterone, and you don't even have to go to the doctor. It's easy, and you get the results the next day.
Testosterone, is that a big thing?
It's a really important thing, Cart. Sometimes you can feel off without even knowing something's wrong. But LabCorp On Demand wants to keep you healthy and wants to make it as easy as possible. Right now, you can get 20% off your men's health test by visiting our sponsor at tryelco.com/sleepersmedia. It's simple, affordable, and honestly, it's empowering to know that you're healthy and have this info about your body.
Didn't know that testosterone did all those things. I'm gonna have to take the guesswork out of this and go get my health checked out today using LabCorp On Demand.
And so to go back there to close his career, and he's not going to play next season, but he's essentially going to be a vet for the young guys and I think he's looking at this as a let me help shape the next chapter in Portland. And given what he's shown, I saw it as the obvious choice for him as opposed to trying to be a supplemental piece in Boston or supplemental piece in Golden State for the last couple of years when he hasn't been healthy.
Yeah, I mean, and like I'm not blown away by by Portland's roster by any means, but I mean they have Shaden Sharp, Donovan Clinton, Tumani Kamara, Denny
Hanson
Obvious.
Yang, Hanson Yang.
Yeah, he's there too. Scoot Henderson, you know what I mean? Like obviously they brought Drew back this offseason or brought Drew in this offseason.
Yeah,
Technically back. He was there for like a couple hours once. Um, they still have Robert Williams III. They still have Jeremy Grant. This isn't the worst roster in the world. They have a year to develop the young guys, kind of go through the motions. I'm not gonna say tank. I don't think they're like bad enough to tank because Denny
yeah,
was like borderline all-star. Shaden seems to be coming into his own. Hopefully, for their sake, Scoot it comes into his own. Same with Klingon. And if those players are who they kind of are. And Tumani Kamara is literally, I want to say, like first or second team on defense this year.
yeah,
Those five dudes are going to win games, but they're going to get you another lottery pick, specifically in the West, and then now you add another lottery pick. You have Dame on a cheap deal. All those dudes are on a cheap deal. I believe Drew Holiday isn't an expiring contract, but it could become movable. Same with Jeremy Grant. Same with Robert Williams III. You could kind of go get something. I'm not saying you could ring chase with Portland, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that this team could be a contender of some sorts for Dame's like final two seasons. Um, and Dame can kind of go out like trying to do what he tried to do for so long. And I
yeah,
think that's kind of a pretty cool story for him, especially coming off a torn Achilles. What I really think it is like, eh, you tear your Achilles at 35, man. Like respectfully,
it's
like that's tough. I don't think he is built to play in Boston coming off that injury. I don't think he's built to play for the Warriors coming off that injury. But in a lesser role, with a Scoop, with a Shaden, with a Drew Holiday, so on and so forth, that's in this backcourt. Like I said, minimal expectations in comparison to the other two. You don't have to play defense. Versus if you're in Golden State, you and Steph Curry, Dame Lillard backcourt, you better go get in a stance somewhere. Like you better
yeah.
go pick somebody up. And if you're gonna play in Boston, you're gonna switch everything. You better go pick somebody up. Dame didn't play defense before the injury, so I just I feel like this is the best spot for him given some of the limitations he's going to have when he does come back. And instead of it being like, "Hey, Dame's back, let's go get a ring," it's like, "Hey, Dame's back, let's just enjoy the moment." And I think that's what he needs.
It's the only place he can go be Damian Lillard and not have pressure to get back to being Damian Lillard, the All-Star.
Right.
Right. And I know Sean made a big deal about how, that's where his kids are and everything like that, which makes a lot of sense. Like the family backing, I don't think, there's a lot that goes into players' happiness and mindset and their play that just is beyond what they do on the court. And that's part of it. So this is a happiness move, I think, for Dame. Now, it could get interesting in 2 years if he's okay coming off the bench, if he's okay playing 20 minutes. What might be better for Portland may not be as good for Dame, and if he's okay with that. But I don't think he makes this decision without that coming into his mind and being okay with that.
Yeah, the kids and family aspect, I get. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
This was not. I think that was a part of the deal. I don't think that was like why he's doing this.
Agreed, because like Boston could just tell him, "Why don't you just rehab in Portland for a year?" And then you're with your family for a full year, which, like, respectfully, that's longer than he's ever been with his family. Because even when you're playing in Portland, you're traveling 50%
Yeah.
of the year. And then he plays in the Olympics, he plays in the World Cup in the summer. And I'm not trying to like insinuate he's not with his family. I'm just saying, like, Boston could offer him the ability to be with his family more than previously too. So I think he was going, unless Boston was like, "No, you have to rehab in Boston," which allegedly Milwaukee did, and that's absolutely insane. That's absolutely insane if that's true. But yeah, I don't know. I buy the family aspect of like wanting to be around your family down the end of your career, but I think he was going to get that regardless.
Probably. It'll storybook ending for him in Portland. I don't know if it's going to end with rings or playoff runs or things like that, but I do think it'll make Damian Lillard happy, and it'll make Portland Trailblazer fans happy as well.
This video is brought to you by NBA 2K Labs, or maybe college football labs, because the people behind 2K Labs have just built something awesome. CFBLabs.com has everything you need to play college football 26 even better. Cart, you've been playing the game, right?
I have been, but I'm behind the eight ball, Gregory. There's a lot of people out there who got a little bit of edge on me, but the good folks over at 2K Labs got me covered. They got the playbooks I need, the plays, the head-to-head coaches, knowing some teams. Obviously, way too many college football teams. I need the inside edge here, and they got all different types of things to help me get that edge.
Yeah, I jumped in and started playing Road to Glory over the weekend, and I ended up like a 2-star recruit that did not get one snap in season one because I chose the wrong school with the wrong roster that was way too loaded. Had I known that CFBLabs.com exists, I would have made a much more wise decision in my Road to Glory mode. They've got teams, playbooks, coaches, team comparison tools. You can literally see every single play in the game, every player in the game, their rating, what they're good at, all in one consolidated place online to help you make the right choices and win more games in college football 26. CFBLabs.com. Go check it out.